let's make this quick to be more informal, just to share those tools that we were talking about. And as a coach, or when you are thinking about an exercise and you want it to go well, as a coach educator, in this particular context, I was thinking, maybe they've never seen this before. Maybe I will surprise them. Let's see how it goes. But just be aware. Nowadays, more and more, this is easy to access. This is easy to be done. Some directors and clubs use it. Some use it for the better, some use it for the worse, some don't use it at all. But just as long as you know that this is a possibility, maybe that you can integrate it in your work, or you know how it is evaluating your work, it gets a clear vision of how your style also can be analyzed.
อันนี้บางทีมใส่ได้บางทีรู้ใส่เลยเลือกแต่พอจอบแต่ว่าถ้าพอจอบพอใจอันนี้ถ้าพอจอบใส่ได้มันจะเป็นตัวที่สำคัญสำหรับพอจอบ
This is an example of that friend, a Spanish friend of mine that I was talking to you about, and for me is the biggest reference worldwide in terms of football data analytics. He sent me the link so that I could share it with you to show you how it's done. Imagine collecting that statistical quantitative data from Y-Scout that you collect, whatever it may be, the importances that you have for your team and your opponents. You can get inside to choose the type of metrics that you want to evaluate. This module is about how you evaluate your playing style, qualitative and quantitative. Imagine that you say that I want to evaluate a team or teams in the league, my opponents, looking at the way they carry the ball, number of carries, dribbles, passes in the final third, crosses, whatever it may be. You select what you want and you put it in the model.
อันนี้เป็นคือมีรายละเอียดจากรายอย่างคือwe call it use card เนาะและพอเจ้านี้มีรายละเอียดที่พอเจ้าเลือกได้อันใดพอเจ้าสนใจอันใดพอเจ้าไม่สนใจ
And what this statistical process does, it creates a point in space. And it evaluates how close or how far, in this case, other coaches and the style that their teams play are from you. I will explain again. So we take a set of metrics, of stats, imagining putting them all together, and they create a point. And then, push the stats. They will come here. And then, no stats. They will come here. And the closer they are to you, the more similar the playing style in terms of those stats of you, of your teams, will be. Let me try to show you visually this.
อันนี้เนาะเป็นคือเกี่ยวกับสไตล์ของทีมตัวเองหรือสไตล์ของตัวสู้ถ้าพอเจ้าสนใจเด็กตัวสองบ้านอยู่ในโซน3พอเจ้าเป็นจุดหนึ่งอันนี้ใส่ทุกๆบ้านที่พอเจ้าส่งอยู่ในโซน3อันนี้เป็นจุดที่1ถ้าพอเจ้าอยากตัวสู้อันนี้เราส่งบ้านจากเทือพอเจ้าให้เป็นนี้ทำมันได้เป็นคือสไตล์บุคือถ้าแก่ๆกันเป็นสไตล์ของสองทีมคือกัน
In some ways, we can already be being evaluated this way. This is happening. Might not be happening to you right now, but might happen in the future. But if you control the data yourselves, you can also, just by sometimes changing one stat, this can turn. Take a look at this kind of creates clusters, different zones. Here, I selected Guardiola team, the stats from City in 2019. They are here. And you can see which teams are more similar to that playing style. From those leagues and from this season. Just before Patrick enters in. I will try to open it and you will see a funny connection.
เนาะอันนี้เราเลือกเราสนใจเนาะสถิติของทีมแมนเชสเตอร์ซิตี้ในปี2019และเราอยากรู้ว่าทีมใดที่แข่งกันทีมแมนเชสเตอร์ซิตี้นี้และเรารู้มีหนึ่งสองสามทีมสไตล์แข่งกันเนาะมีสามทีมนี้
This is what I would love as a coach. It's only possible when you have time that you saw yesterday that you don't always have the time, and you have quality players to put your idea into work. But this, for me, would be evident that when I evaluate across different seasons, the teams that are more similar to me are the ones that I coached the years before. So, and we can see the ones that are closer in terms of those statistics, and the ones that might resemble you also.
คือในกรณีนี้เราอยากรู้ว่าทีมที่คือแมนเชสเตอร์ซิตี้ในปี2019พอเห็นว่ามีแมนเชสเตอร์ซิตี้อีกที่ปี2020แล้วมีแมนเชสเตอร์ซิตี้อีกปี2017แล้วก็มีไบเยิร์นมิวนิกปี2018
I selected here Jurgen Klopp 2020. Okay, and you see a connection to Jurgen Klopp 2019. Obviously, there are also connections with teams of the similar level that create a lot of opportunities, that press high at the pitch. But we could go the other way around and see the other spectrum of the teams.
คืออันนี้เป็นทีมของลิเวอร์พูลในปี2020และคือทีมของไบเยิร์นมิวนิกในปี2018อันนี้เป็นทีมที่สไตล์คือกันเลยแต่ว่าถ้าคุณเราอยากรู้ว่าทีมที่บุกคืออันนี้เป็นอย่างนิวคาสเซิลมีปาร์มาในปี2018มีนอร์วิช
And you start to see similar playing styles, but you need to know that this is being influenced by what is being put in the system. Is the data correct? Is the data really measuring an even playing style? Sometimes inside we can see analysts putting goals, expected goals, and shots. When you put three things that are within each other, you are creating bias in the system. Because goals come from shots, expected goals come from shots, and so you are putting three times the same thing. Even though it has a little bit of different way, but they measure almost the same thing. Knowledge on your part, because somewhere along the way you might be being evaluated like this, or you can have a way, if you have access, you can try to see if the coaches that you are facing, how has been their playing style over the years.
เนาะอันนี้เป็นรายอย่างที่เขาจะใช้เนาะสำหรับผู้อันนี้เนาะอันนี้เป็นอย่างอันนี้เป็นตัวที่สำคัญเพราะว่าบางทีเขาจะอยากรู้ว่าสไตล์ของทีมต่อสู้เป็นสไตล์อย่างคล้ายๆอย่างที่คอยบอกหรือปีนี้ที่คือปีกายบอกเป็นรายละเอียดที่บางทีเขาจะสนใจหรือใส่ได้เนาะต้องเป็นเกม analyze เนาะ
And then this is just a matter of visuals, where you see a very big resemblance of those 4 or 5 teams that most resemble the one that you choose. Okay, you see here which team resembled more. It was City 2020, I think. City 2019, Sweet City 2018. But consider this. It's not because you have a game model and an idea that these values for you will look the same season after season or within teams. You know from experience, a player changes and it can change the whole dynamic of your team. A striker that scored goals and pressed, now is out of the equation and it can put you farther away from what you used to do the time before. But just to give you a visual that this can be done and this can be used to evaluate our works and our playing styles.
ตรงที่ว่าเป็นคืออันนี้เป็นผู้นักฝึกของตัวสู้เนาะปีนี้เราจะแบบนี้ปีใหญ่เราเป็นสไตล์เดียวกันบางทีเราเปลี่ยนนักกีฬาเราเปลี่ยนสไตล์เนาะอันนี้เป็น พอโจตรงบึงดีๆเนาะและในกรณีนี้จากทีมของเป๊ปกัวโยล่าในปี2010แล้วพอโจเห็นว่าปี2018กับปี2020สไตล์ในการกันแต่บางทีปี2017หรือปี2022ปี2023มันบุคือ
And keep in mind, it's not necessarily you that's going to get this information. You know, sometimes it's just about knowing it exists. Does the club have the conditions to support you with this information? Do you have anyone in your staff that can help you? If this information brings any value to you. Remember, quantitative data, there's a lot of things missing there from the way that she wants your team to play. The context. Were you winning in these games? Were you losing? Was it home? Was it away? There are things. Did you prepare a different strategic option for that game? You wanted to sit back. You were missing 2 key players. And you decided to sit back. But this will all be put together. It's important to always look at the context.
อีกตัวหนึ่งเห็นดีเนาะต้องใส่ data ต้องเข้าใจตัวเลขแต่ว่าต้องบึงรายละเอียดผมมีแต่บึงตัวเลขแล้วพอเจ้าเข้าใจแล้วพอเจ้าพูดแล้วพอต้องบึงวิดีโอต้องเข้าใจเป็นอย่างตัวเลขแบบนี้เป็นช่างสร้าง
I will say this. The video, okay. I know time is of the essence, but because Harold also mentioned the fact of the PDA, and because I used to look at it too, I will just try to add some information to this. Because it needs to be looked at with a little care. And I didn't know. And if you are where I was, I guess I want to try to help. If you know, perfect. So, PPDA, it evaluates when we are talking. So, how many passes does the opposing team do? Here, 60 meters, and some that is a trick. Also, some providers only do 50 meters. They do it like that. So some calculate here, under stat, 50 meters, for instance, and the other 60. But the idea is to calculate a value that gives you how many passes does the opposing team do when they are building per number of actions that you do in terms of tackles, interception, and there's one of the aspects that I want to touch. I need to let public. So, the idea is that this was the intention of a guy that wanted to study football to see how can I evaluate the pressure that teams do up the pitch. That's the reason why they don't look at here, because here your team is here, probably it will tackle, recover balls. It was a way to measure the quantity of defensive actions that you do while the other team is building up their own.
Yes, I think I got it. Thank you. Can you show the exact thank you. อันนี้เป็นเกี่ยวกับ how ว่าเป็น pass alert เป็น defensive action แปลว่าเนาะถ้าทีมพวกเจ้าเนาะบุมีบานพวกเจ้าอยากรู้ว่าผู้ต่อสู้สามารถส่งบอลจากเทือก่อนพวกเจ้าได้บานเนาะจนพวกเจ้าบีบคือเป็นนี้พวกเจ้ารู้ได้ว่าดีหรือไม่ดี
So this type of actions. This team is building up. How many tackles, interceptions, challenges, fouls, and duels that we win here? To this side, how many are counted on the number of passes that the other team makes? And the lower the value, the idea is that it's a team that presses more. So it would be better if you are looking for a team that presses high to have a lower value. But we will go now a little bit deeper.
เนาะแน่นอนถ้าสมมติว่าพวกเจ้าเป็นทีมบอกผู้ต่อสู้บีบเนาะพวกเจ้าเป็นทีมที่บิวต์ถ้าพวกเจ้าบ่มีโอกาสส่งบอลได้เจอผู้ต่อสู้เป็นทีมที่ bip zoom T bip T.
What it doesn't value. Press, and you press 0. But I'm pressing I as a team. But I'm pressing I as a team. It's not a problem that you use this stat, just know what it actually measures and what it does. It's not the problem of the stat. The thing is, when he created this, there were no providers picking how many pressures the players were making. So he used what he had in hand. It evaluated quantity, not quality. And it can make a big difference. And we are talking here, you can have 4 passes, 1 tackle, and 4 pressures, and it will measure only this, 1. And it was a super pressing team. Or you can have 4 passes, just 1 duel, 1 pressure, and it's the same. The value will be the same, but this team presses high. Be very mindful of this when you look at this information and you don't see the video. If the provider doesn't use as pressures, you are missing out on a lot.
อันนี้เป็นรายละเอียดที่พอเจ้าต้องรู้ถ้าพอเจ้าสนใจอันนี้เป็นคือบางทีตัวซุปเป็นทีมที่บิ๊กซูมแต่บิ๊กซูมแต่ว่าไม่ได้บานเลยแต่บางทีบ่บิ๊กซูมเนาะมีแต่น้อยนึงแต่ว่าพอเจ้าใส่คุณภาพเนาะบิ๊กบ่โดนได้บาน
And I can tell you for sure, I apologize for it, but now I scout bought StatsBomb. StatsBomb used pressures. Maybe that information has been updated, but it's a matter of if you use it, go and see if they are measuring this within the PPDA evaluation.
พอเจ้าต้องเข้าใจดีๆเป็น quantitative กับ qualitative อันนึงเป็นตัวเลขเนาะเป็นคือเห็นจากตัวแต่ quantitative เป็นเกี่ยวกับคุณภาพ
Oh, and I were talking in the break, and this is all a matter of bringing context. That was the most fundamental thing that I learned from this friend of mine. If we are able to connect more than one stat, you will see without watching the video, you will get much more information. For instance, if you look at PPDA, okay, you know what it measures, what it doesn't, but if, for instance, 2 teams, this case was Valencia back in the day, with 2 different coaches, and the value of PPDA was very similar, 12, 13. But if we then look, but how many deep completions, how many passes they allow to enter our own box, so pressing high, or number of actions doing a field, but how many times is the opponent getting into my box? And the difference would be 5 to 7. Even though the value was the same, okay, I might be getting a good value getting there, but I'm leaving spaces inside. So try to connect as much as you can stats that make sense together. For instance, in this case, PPDA and deep completions.
This one is quite tough.
And deep completions, you are talking about the passes that enter inside your own box. So instead of just looking at that value in isolation, that can show that 2 teams had the same value. Okay, but one allowed a lot of passes to get inside in the end, and the other one didn't. Who is defending? Who is very good at defending?
Okay, got it. ในกรณีนี้เป็นกรณีทีมวาเลนเซียเนาะอยู่ลาลิกาพระเจ้าแกนผู้ฝึกเนาะพระเจ้ารู้สองทีมบีบคล้ายๆกันเนาะเป็น2 ทีมที่บีบสูงแต่ว่าอันนี้บางทีพระเจ้าบีบแต่ตัวเล็กตัวทีมบีบแต่ว่าตัวพระเจ้าบีบได้ละเอียดดีๆพระเจ้าเห็นว่าทีมที่1ตัวบีบสูงสั่งวิธีการสำหรับผู้ต่อสู้อยู่หลังเนาะและสำหรับผู้ต่อสู้บุญญาสั่งโอกาสแต่ว่ากับผู้ฝึกที่2พระเจ้าบีบสูงและบ่สั่งวิธีการสำหรับผู้ต่อสู้
This is just to show you a difference when you only look at the information without pressures, where you only look at tackles, fouls, the tools that we were talking about. But when you add pressure, if you have that information, and I do it myself subjectively, it's not a matter that you only have access to Y Scout. In your training, you are doing 11v11 with constraints. But I'm picking the pressures that my strikers are doing. And then I say, were they done? Inward, outward. How we started this lesson. What's within your game model. And you can take them for yourselves. And you see a big difference between being calculated one way and seeing the amount of pressures that the team actually does.
Any Recruitment, no? Any team Manchester City, no? United video can, no? Any pen high pressing, no? Some job pen high pressing. There are my team what job that who are team need big you say you will die, no?
Another thing that I would like to mention, okay, you can also see this in terms of your players in space. This was one of the great Bielsa teams with Leeds, but PPDA. So, the opponent starts building. Goalkeeper pass, center back, PPDA, I don't know. The other team didn't press. No tackles, they didn't get even close. They were sitting down. One pass, PPDA, I or low. No. One pass, but there were no actions. So the value isn't putting in consideration how the other team is actually building up. Okay, if it's a team that plays short, this will have a better information for you. But if you don't even get the time to press, you are looking at a number that might tell you that, oh, this team, whoa. They don't even get a chance to do it. The value will be low, like you would like, but there was no activity at all. And it was not your fault or the team, because the opponent kicked the ball away. Context. Don't be fooled by your scouts. This knowledge is power for you. Power for you. That's what I intended with this type of remarks.
No,เป็นอย่างอีกอันนึงเนาะบางทีจนพอเจ้าบึกตัวเล็กเนาะเรื่อง PPDA พอเจ้าเห็นว่ามันบุสูพอเจ้าคิดว่าบางทีทีมนี้บิ๊กบุสูหรือทีมบิ๊กบุดีแต่ว่าบางทีบุตรบางทีจนทีมที่หนึ่งเรียนดอกเนาะนะครับส่งบอลหากองหลังเอาบอลโยนบอลเลยทีมบอลเลยเนาะพอเจ้าต้องบึ้งและละเอียดต้องเข้าใจตัวเล็กที่พอเจ้าอ่าน
This is one link that a friend of mine that actually works in Thailand shared with me from one of the people that has been working a lot on expected goals, and he created a tool, free, online. This is the site where you enter, and you have here the option to imagine that you had the training session, 10, 20 shots, doesn't matter. You come here, or a person that works with you comes here, and you move around to where the shots happen, and you see here the value changing. Okay, 9% chance, it was here 4% chance, it was inside, and you can also say 14%, but it was with the foot, with the head. It was a header. It drops to 3%. If the assist was here across, and if it has an impact, it shows. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Was it a dribble before? 14%. And so, without getting too much carried away, knowing that you don't have here the information, was there an opponent in front of you, where was the goalkeeper? But if you have the opportunity, maybe this can bring more value when you are creating or reviewing your sessions. And it's available free online, I will send it to you.
ถ้าพอเจ้าสนใจเกี่ยวกับวิธีเนาะอยากเข้าใจก็เป็นวิธีมันเป็นอย่างเนาะอันนี้เป็นออนไลน์อันนี้เป็นฟรีพอเจ้าสามารถใช้ได้เนาะเราสิส่งลิงก์อยู่ในกลุ่ม
Even here, if you happen, you can do this with your two teams that were 11v11 in training. if you don't have Y Scout in the league or for the competition, sometimes that happens under 23, second league, I know how that goes. You can come here and you go to the other side, you take the value and you put here all the shots, all the values per shot that they have. And it will give you the percentage, the expected points that you were supposed to get.
ถ้าพอโจผมมีไวสเกลน้องอยู่แล้วพอโจสามารถเฮ็ดเองได้เนาะถ้าพอโจเข้าใจอีกทีเนาะเดี๋ยวพอโจใส่ตัวเลขที่นี้สุดท้ายพอโจเฮ็ดเองก็ได้
Okay, you change it and the graphs will adapt.
อันนี้เป็นฟรีเนาะเป็นออนไลน์
And the final one, and I don't have a lot of time to go through with you,
สุดท้าย
but this, you can even, there's ways that you can put the video on YouTube for free, you can create an account for free and you load it up. You can edit the text or the people that work for you. It has a limit, but you can have here all your team players, all the opponent players if you want, and you can categorize shots, dribbles, crosses, passes. And when you click on the pitch,
อันนี้พอโจเฮ็ดเองได้เนาะอันนี้เป็นคือใส่รายละเอียดของทีมตัวเองรายละเอียดของผู้ต่อสู้อันนี้เป็นคือมีบ้านส่งบ้านโพสต์บ้านเนาะ
wherever you are clicking on the pitch, please look at the table. I will now
คุณยินดีเพิ่มตัวเลขเนาะ
cross number 6 over here. And it's giving you that coordinate that allows you to create the passing networks that we were talking about. And more than this. I don't have time. Maybe if I have the option to show you one of the courses that I took, just briefly so that you see the visual. In Power BI, free tool. You take this, you create heat maps yourself, but like this. You don't waste time. I don't want to waste your time with things that don't matter. The idea is that you can get access to information quickly and that it's valuable to you. But if you take it from here, then you put it in the software, it's super fast. And you can create those passes that we were seeing with Power BI, all free tools, all very visual.
อันนี้เป็นที่ได้สำหรับที่ผมมีไว้สเกลเนาะถ้าพอโจสนใจเกี่ยวกับระดับพอโจเฮ็ดเองก็ได้
And so I don't have time now, but you could even, for instance, get where it ended. So you put the pass, and then you put where it ends, and you get the connection. And this is free.
อันนี้เป็นฟรีเนาะ
This is from people that try to develop football worldwide, that know that a lot of us don't get access to many tools, and it's a simple way. If you don't want to do passes, listen, shots, you can put it here, and you can create those visuals that I was showing to you from providers. You can have for your own team. Where are you shooting? Where are you crossing from? Very visual. We were talking. We want to change our players' approach. We know our idea. Sometimes we even know what's better for them than themselves. But convincing is another thing. And with this type of visuals, sometimes you can shorten the time frame that you need to get them on board, to get the buy-in. Okay, guys?
อันนี้เป็นตัวที่สำคัญที่พอโจอยากอธิบายเนาะและยังทีมตัวเองเนาะนักกีฬาเนาะให้พอโจเห็นเดี๋ยวโจมันส่งบ้านเนาะพรุ่งนี้โจมันยิงบ้านเท่านี้ถ้าพอโจสนใจเป็นฟรีเป็นออนไลน์
Okay, that wraps it up. A little bit short and intense. And now I guess we go downstairs and follow.
I think everybody want to sit down and try your the website.
I'll send the link direct to YouTube so you
Yeah,
have to share.
okay. I will follow you. Okay, ladies and